Hi, Rituraj.
Hi,
Good
Tanushree.
afternoon.
Good
Hi,
afternoon.
how are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good too. Thank you. Yeah. So, welcome everyone. I'm Tanushri and I'm a part of the academy team at UpGrad. Thank you for joining us today. And we'll be first discussing about pharma industry overview, followed by career options for MBA graduates and first-time job seekers. And lastly, we'll be covering up the training models of the pharma companies. So we have with us Mr. Rituraj Sar, who heads the learning and development of Lupin. Rituraj has 30 years of experience in sales and marketing and performance development. He has diagnosed organizational development needs through business imperatives, and he has evaluated various L&D and OD solutions and has integrated global subsidiaries with India for best practices in HR. So, firstly, congratulations on completing 14 years with Lupin, Rituraj. I'm sure it has been a great journey. So, we would like to hear about it. If you could share a few lines about your experience.
Uh, when I joined Lupin, it was 1,500 crore turnover. When I joined at that time, the number of people working was
Okay.
under 3,000. So we were
Uh-huh.
1,500 crores and we were less than 3,000 people working. And now we are almost 17,000 crores
Mm-hmm.
revenue. So having
Mm-hmm.
grown from 1,500 to 17,000 over
Mm-hmm.
that. And
Uh-huh.
number of people now has grown from less than 3,000 to over 25,000. So
Mm-hmm.
it has been, in 10 years, we grew 10 times. That has been the kind of pace. And one has been fortunate enough to be part of this growth story and be partnering in some way through this
Mm-hmm.
function of learning and development for the
Mm-hmm.
growth story. So that's in a nutshell.
Okay. So thanks. That's amazing, Rituraj. So now, without further ado, let me jump to the questions right away. And the first question that we would like to know is basically your views about the HR function. So if you have to pick two areas, where the COVID has led to an impact, or let's say forced a total transformation. So what would they be?
I think normally, over a period of time, whenever you think HR, you think of hiring.
Mm-hmm.
The moment an organization gets set up, the uh, organic requirement in an organization is to attract people to work in that organization, and therefore they need HR. That's how actually,
Mm-hmm.
conventionally HR has been looked at as primarily recruitment function. I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about very, very genesis of HR as a function, but over
Mm-hmm.
a period of time, obviously there has been a lot of other subsets of functions that have got added on,
Mm-hmm.
which that has really made it a very wholesome and business imperative function. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
During this process, there have been other functions like whether it is performance management process, or it is learning and development process, or it is strategic HR process, or it is business HR process, and various other similar things. In the current
Mm-hmm.
times, answering your question, Tanushree, what has been actually most impacted is the touch point with employees, those who are working in the company and who have certain expectations. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, from this standpoint, there are two functions that have been majorly impacted and fortunately favorably impacted. And one function is learning and development because employees want to be trained.
Mm-hmm.
Organizations want employees to be investing on their own training in the current
Mm-hmm.
context, to be able to
Mm-hmm.
really be more productive and contribute to business bottom line as well as top line. So,
Mm-hmm.
learning and development has become very, very crucial in the current times of remote working, work from home, and the current COVID times. So, whether it is about managing your stress levels or managing your insecurity, to whether it is about how to really be able to earn trust of your company, of your seniors, how to be able to really improve your employability per se as well in the
Mm-hmm.
changing times and context. So, it becomes extremely important as a function. So learning and development has become an integral to experience of employee in the company. That is number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is the function of performance management. That has actually got transformed as a result of this current situation because now we are working in an environment where you're not as much face to face And therefore, we need to have the processes set up, the systems established, which were, by the way, always there, already there. But just that we were always lazily using the conventional way, that preference of face to face. And therefore, really going through the workflows, going through the processes, and really bringing that system to alive was not happening as effectively up till now. So my answer to your question is, number one, learning and development as a function has got favorably impacted, and number two, it is the performance management function that has got really much more streamlined than ever before in terms of utility.
All right, that's again amazing. So you have been an industry veteran for 14 years in Lupin, right? So in your view, how has the pharma sales rep role transitioned over the years in terms of digital literacy or digital skills requirement?
Pharma salesperson's job is very simple. It's very repetitive, so it's very boring.
Okay.
But if you think about boring, even for Sachin Tendulkar to keep batting for whatever number of years he kept batting could have been considered simply simple, repetitive, and boring. So it is entirely up to how you can add art. It is up to you if you can be an artist approaching this job, or if it is just a mechanical way of looking at this job, of trying to make yourself presentable to a person who is not interested in you, whether it is your doctor, or it is your channel partner, or it is your peers, or it is your junior, or it is your seniors. So, or it is your society for that matter. Just to give you a quick, interesting reality check on our society. Suppose there are two brothers. One is working. Both are working in pharma. One is working in pharma sales. The other is working in pharma manufacturing, which means he goes inside the plant and he works there for 8 hours and then he comes out at the end of the day. In our society, somehow, the one who goes to factory tends to get more respect. I'm talking about entry-level jobs. So Apple comparison in that sense, compared to the person who is out there in the field, who's really slogging it out and trying to convert a lot of no into yes, and making sure that the company actually benefits in terms of turnover through his or her effort and work at the ground level. Both jobs are equally important. However, I'm talking about perception. So that's the interesting reality check from our society point of view. How it has evolved, your question. Now it has become far more digitally driven than ever so far. So it's a blessing in disguise. On one hand, one might feel that it's a competitive and very tough situation currently because of the pandemic situation. Having said that, there is a great deal of taking to digitization that has happened by these salespeople. In fact, last 12 months, I would not look at it. I would look at it from last 6 months point of view, and I'll compare that with the earlier 6 years. The kind of change that has happened in terms of digitalization, in terms of mindset of sales guys, what has happened in last 6 months had not happened in earlier past 6 years.
Yes.
Very interesting. What I mean by this change is, interestingly, a couple of very simple things like digi-calling. Earlier, I was going out and waiting for doctor to give me time. Or try to fix up an appointment with doctor at the hospital and then try to meet with him or her. But now I have a resort of digi-calling, which is actually very, very convenient to doctor also.
Yeah.
So what do we mean by digi-calling? How do we get our video calling habits in place? How do we really improve our video calling etiquette? How do we make sure that our presence in the video call screen is exactly, for example, basics like the background should be 30%, you should be 60%. Very, very broad thumb rules which have now become part and parcel of our day-to-day life. How do you make sure your audio, video, everything, etc., everything you checked in process, your infra, your Wi-Fi, everything is connectivity is secure. These basics have so it's no longer that your voice is breaking. It's no longer that, sorry, I'm not able to hear you. Can you please come to a better network zone? All that is a thing of passe now. So digital calling your doctors saves doctors' time, saves your time, saves commute time, saves wait time, and you are able to straight away cut to the point that you wish to share with the doctor. So that is one important way of change that has happened. The other is digi-reporting. Similarly, what was earlier happening, of course, through papers as well as through online. But now that digi-reporting has become so much more in terms of even more material inputs being offered through your digital route, which can be in terms of market intelligence, which can be in terms of the objections being raised by the customer, whether it is doctor or it is hospital or any other institution. So all this can be really brought alive even more through using various other touch points, because now that you've got greater insight into doctor thanks to digicalling. And third point is obviously digital learning. So I can learn so much on my own through it. Can be a lot of learner driven, self led, and not necessary that I need to be waiting for a company to organize something for me. Gone are the days when we would have a company to organize the hotel and the, if possible, outside, off-site, and then all the bandwagon, etc. It's very simple. There's a course in Coursera, or there is a course in another interesting thing that you've looked up for yourself. Go there, pick it up, and then share it with others. And similarly, your company will keep suggesting to you, but do not become a parasite on the company, or do not simply say, do not become a parasite on others to fuel your learning, your growth, your development. So these three are the areas broadly: digi-calling, it is digi-reporting, and it is digi of learning. That has happened, that has erupted in the last 6 months like never before.
Yes, absolutely. That perfectly answers my question, Rituraj. So the world has come online, and reskilling or learning, lifelong learning is the new way, right? And this learning, this continuous learning, helps us to keep ourselves updated and keep ourselves up to the competition. And apart from this, cost rationalization is also one key focus for almost all organizations. So do you think outsourcing training will play an important role here, while we have to build a skilled workforce?
Outsourcing training is always an option. It's a good option. Only thing is, it depends on the kind of subject matter expertise that you have come across. You need to have exactly the same context. You need to have the same content. So customization then becomes a little more of an organic process and not really a forced customization. So it's not customization holds the key here. Am I able to really jointly hold accountability towards the bottom line deliverables of what I'm doing, rather than keeping it simply, my job is to provide inputs and I leave it there as an outsourced partner, let's say. If I'm the outsourced service provider, if I just consider myself as the input provider or the experience provider and not really the impact provider, I'm mistaken. So I'm not here to provide an experience as a service provider. I'm not here to provide an input. These are the initial steps. More important than this, the client, the customer, the organization is looking for the impact actually on its bottom line. So it should be either cost down or productivity up or system improve. One of these three things need to be the final impact of what I'm doing as an outsourcing partner for an organization. So answer to your question is always yes. Outsourcing is always welcome idea. Obviously, it saves a lot of cost as a result, but it should be with the same level of high level of accountability as we have within the company. When we are holding people accountable for actually having got inputs, how are you practicing that? How are you converting the input you received into practice, and how is that really creating business impact in the desired manner? When we are holding them accountable, obviously everybody else has to be equally accountable, including the outsourcer.
Okay, all right. So that again is a very good way of focusing on, how organizations should focus on cost rationalization, or maybe focus on training models. So again, a lot of organizations, they have changed their classroom training into modular or bite-sized training models, right? So do you think the same is happening in the pharma space as well? I'm sure that you have mentioned earlier in the earlier answers, but we would like to know more, if you can, throw some more light on the, bite-sized training models, or what kind of training models are currently happening in the pharma space.
Uh, so just like any other sector, our sector also is no different. So there is a whole lot of focus on the. No, we are now smartly trying to make best use of this newly found openness of employees. towards training, not only employees, but even their managers, leaders also, senior leaders, top leaders in the company have become much more open to digital learning than ever before. So call it online, call it the skills that you can provide that are easily. So whatever is the skill and whatever is the information, so far we had come to believe the conclusion was
Mm-hmm.
that information can be shared online, but skill has to be practiced on a personal basis. That was
Yes.
the thinking up till March 2020. And ever since then, this has also been changed. For example, we are able to do, let me give you an example of detailing. When we are practicing detailing, when sales guys are giving that practice, they are now doing it on WhatsApp videos, and we are checking them on them, and peer group checks on them, shares observations on that, and finally we create some good practices in the detailing all along through WhatsApp video route. So you don't need to be really physically present face to face as was the need felt earlier on. So specifically, there is one lot of focus that has shifted to digital platforms now. So gone are the times when we were debating, deliberating, and wondering how to really create a digital roadmap for the organization, and then the organization will start work towards it. Now people know this is our bread and butter, and this is how we need to be working, and this is our reality to stay. So we need to be working on this, not as if it is there for a couple of years and then we'll be back to our own old ways, because we are ending up saving a lot of money when you're working from home. When you are working in
Yes.
the field directly from home and you are coming back home, but you're not going to an office where, for example, the infrastructure, the rentals, the power
Yes.
bills, the whether it is cafeteria or so on and so forth, everything, all cost is being saved as a result. So
Yes.
it is
Yes.
seemingly a very, very viable option worth experimenting with. One is not really
Mm-hmm.
jumping to conclusion that this is the best way to do it, but so far
Mm-hmm.
there are some very interesting present dividends that we are getting out of it, because people have realized that they want to, number one, take to digitalization and therefore digital way of working much, much more than ever before, and number two, they have actually performed better than before in the
Mm-hmm.
context, in the current times, because everybody seems to be realizing the seriousness. And otherwise, if we do not give it our best, it will not really last long in terms of organization as an entity.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody has actually come to terms with this, and as a result, people are very presently improving in terms of
Yes.
their trustworthiness. They're feeling more empowered and contributing much more than before. Earlier, one would always wait, preferably for a face-to-face to happen
Yes.
between him or her and his boss. But now it is okay. This is the way to be, and let's really share as much as possible. Let's more than make up for our not being able to meet.
Yes. Yes.
So it has really come in very handy in that sense.
Yes. Also, in my view, the grave problem that we had in India, like, the traffic issues that we had, it has been, aggressively solved. Like, we are facing, we used to face traffic problems since quite few years, right? And that has been solved, I guess, that thanks to COVID. But yeah. So, yeah. So I think like there's always,
Let us
a
take it
positive
one
side
more
to,
thing. Yeah, one more thing to your answer, to answer what you asked me.
yeah.
In terms of models, the way they are changing, LMS utilization has become much more than ever before. So
Mm-hmm.
earlier, LMS was just yet another way to record things, but now that has also started really through. It always had those features, but we are not actually looking at those features now. So now it has become
Yes.
really much more alive than before. So whether it
Yes.
is doing I'm just giving an example, WhatsApp video being used for detailing practice, and then we create the context out of it. We create best of the best detailing work that has happened, and we share it with everybody across in that business group.
Mm-hmm.
And, or it is about LMS tracking everybody's learning journey over a period of time. So each one of is doing, how it has impacted the work in terms of bottom line, how his manager is responding, how our peers are giving us feedback. So two things we have picked up on priority: one is coaching and one is detailing in the
Mm-hmm.
current context. And just to talk about brass tacks, I'm talking another thing now on the same breath. I have hired people in this pandemic times. End-to-end process has happened right from start to finish within these 6 months' time. So everything is possible and doable, just that we need to be able to really get used to the new ways of working.
Yes. So that's why, I mean, the, adage goes, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So, yeah. So, yeah, rightly said, this is a very, it's like a blessing in disguise, wherein we are trying to, see at the brighter side and trying to, gauge the most of it. So, yeah. So, moving forward to our next question, what kind of aspirational roles should a fresh graduate or a first-time job seeker look out for in terms of his or her career growth?
Uh, Most important job in pharma is to sell. Equally
Yeah.
important is to make. So you make
Yeah.
and you sell. Uh, these are two
Mm-hmm.
most important jobs. If you enjoy front ending, if you enjoy interacting with people, if you enjoy coming face to face with people, if you enjoy the challenge and excitement of converting a no into yes, obviously sales is for you. It's a great opportunity, great job avenue, great career avenue. And if you enjoy the manufacturing part of it, there is, of course, a whole lot of options there also. There are some other aspects as well that have come about, apart from sales, marketing, and manufacturing aspect, like, of course, like all of us know, supply chain.
Yes.
Supply chain has become so crucial in a large organization, in a large country, large
Mm-hmm.
marketplace, a large
Mm-hmm.
geography like ours, that we need to make sure it becomes much more economical than before, and continuously it has to keep reducing costs. It becomes much faster, it becomes much more productive also. The turnaround time needs to be much shorter than before. So this is a continuous process. It's not that we have arrived on this process ever. We can never say that. So supply chain has become extremely critical between the factory, the plant where it is being made, and the place of consumption where it is going to be put to use. How do you connect these two very, very swiftly and economically? That has really made supply chain extremely crucial. So sales, marketing, manufacturing, supply chain, and of course, apart from that, the support functions like marketing, the finance, the HR, the IT, these are typical functions. Strategic aspects in each one of these functions becomes very important, but not to really get carried away by the term strategic. It needs to be first born out of the practical experience in each one of
Mm-hmm.
these areas. And based on that experience, of course, one can have the insights derived to become a little more strategic in one's own contribution and approach to the job. But each one of these aspects, there is a whole lot of opportunities there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, do you think like the Indian pharma companies they are developing and they are changing, and there's some very gradual or very fast evolution happening as compared to the global companies, global pharma companies? So, what's your take on this?
Uh, Being in a company that has actually acquired more than 13 companies worldwide across all continents of the world. So whether it is America or it is Europe or it is Australia or it is APAC, we have acquired companies over the last 13 years. And
Yeah.
mm, uh, each one of these acquisitions have been very successful. Might
Mm-hmm.
lead me to believe that we are actually front runners. We are world class. Uh, Not necessary to look at in terms of comparison between India and the world. More important is, are we open to learn from others, and do we have the processes, the practices, and the insights born out of our practice that we can add as value to others. So that's our job when we are actually aligning our acquired companies with us. So we do not want to take away their you asked this question to the right person in that sense, because I have gone about meeting with every single employee of our acquired companies over the last 10, 12 years, and I've understood from them their insecurities, their questions, their skill levels, their capabilities, and their aspirations, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we realize that we are ahead of them. So, but I don't want to really get stung with success or get complacent about that realization. We realize that we have done a lot of hard work in the right direction and with the right esteem, and therefore we are able to see and strive harder, see deeper and strive harder than many of these people around in the world. I am
Mm-hmm.
not saying they are doing a great job. For example, the intelligence of Germans is beyond par. The
Mhm.
comprehension of Japanese is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely
Uh-huh.
inspirational. The large thinking, the big thinking of Americans is wonderful. I'm talking about organizational part. I'm talking about
Yes, yes.
corporate context. So
Yeah.
all this we are, learning a lot from. Obviously, apart from the local things that we need to learn, but we see a lot of opportunity for us to be able to offer as inputs and leadership. And more importantly, they are actually asking for it. They are demanding for it. When I go and meet with them, they have asked me this question over and over again across continents as to how you've been able to be so successful as an organization, as a team of sales and
Mhm.
manufacturing people, how you've been able to be so successful over last more than 5 decades. And hardly ever you've not grown. Every single year you've grown. Every single quarter you've grown. How have you been able to manage that kind of remarkable
Mhm.
consistency on your performance? Obviously, everybody wants that. So that leads me to believe that yes, we are doing some things right, but should not lead you to conclusion or complacency that we are better.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. All right. So, what's basically the average number of hours, like, that employees should spend on training in the pharma space, or maybe on the LMS platform? Like you mentioned that LMS integration, or learning on LMS is the new learning, is a new way of learning, right? Because everybody is working from home, and because of the times have called it for it. So, what's the average number of hours that these employees or these pharma reps or from people from the organizations from different teams they spend on learning? I mean, do companies look for external, vendors for their training requirements, or if they are focusing on the LMS integration part? So, what's basically a message for all these pharma reps, or maybe for the fresh graduates that we have from MBA or first-time job seekers when it comes to learning, or when it comes to training and laddering up in their professional career?
Uh, so I'll keep it very simple as an
Mhm.
answer. It's a very deep question, so one
Okay.
can go on this, but I'll keep it very simple. It
All
is
right.
100 hours a year.
Mm-hmm.
100 hours a year. I'll tell you the maths behind it. 52 weeks, every week 2 hours.
Okay. Perfect.
If I
Okay.
do not, and this is absolutely sector agnostic, it's not about pharmacy, it's not about sales, it's not about a particular function also. It's about you as a professional. If you wish to grow, if you wish to really take yourself to the next level, you need to really find out ways to improve your, receive world class inputs on that. And it's all become so much doable, so much accessible now thanks to the online possibilities now. So you need to keep a budget for yourself that 2 hours a week you need to keep at least. So if it finally averages out to about 2 hours a week over 50, 52 weeks of the year, obviously you have got yourself that number of 100 hours in a year. More
Mm-hmm.
importantly than these numbers, it can be less, it can be more. It will be definitely more if you are actually getting more curious.
Mm-hmm.
There are two things you need to have in your profession. One is, of course, it's not about getting a salary, getting a promotion. It's about, are you being driven with curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
means learning. And two,
Mm-hmm.
are you being driven with imagination, which means you are wanting
Mm-hmm.
to challenge. So
Yes.
curiosity and imagination, these two things are extremely crucial for you to become a successful professional. If that being the case, 100 hours is nothing. And there
Mm-hmm.
is so much material available these days.
Yes.
You will just I would use the term Netflix it. So you
Okay.
wouldn't really look for, okay, what is next on Netflix. You will look for what is next for me to really whet my appetite towards my own different aspects of evolution, whether it is professional
Mm-hmm.
part of it, whether it is my individual part of it, whether it is my personal finance part of it. How do I manage my money? Whatever I am earning, how do I make my money work for myself? Whether it
Yes.
is the philosophical or spiritual part of it, or whether it is relationships part of me from my social standpoint. So
Mm-hmm.
all these is aspects. One is talking about the complete wholesomeness of one's existence.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you are in an organization and we therefore cut you off from all the rest and just focus on your limbs and see how best we can get the best out of it, be a very crude and raw way of looking at it. That's why I gave you a more wholesome answer.
Okay. All right. All right. So basically, in the entire training budget that these pharma companies have, so what the largest share of pie it goes to which team basically? Which part? Leadership development? Does it go to product training, or does it go to soft skills part of training? So how is this training part happens basically in the pharma space?
One to answer your question, Tanushree, is very simply number one, product training. Number two, soft
Okay.
skills. Number three, leadership development. That is one
All right.
to answer your question. The other way to classify this is in terms of the benefit or impact it serves, the purpose it serves. So there are again three ways you can classify that. Number one is alignment of every single employee in the company to align itself with the organizational goal, the business goal, etc. Number two is
Mm-hmm.
productivity improvement. So how do you actually ensure that whatever you are doing, you do more of that, you do that better quality, and you do that at much lesser cost and much faster speed. So productivity improvement. So one is alignment, second is productivity improvement, and third is grooming oneself for next role. So that is preparing yourself for the next level to raise your bar. So these are the three ways you can classify, three classifications you can make. So I'm just giving you, apart from product training, soft skills, and leadership development, this is another lens if you look at it from. So it is alignment, productivity improvement, and grooming for next level. This is how companies are looking at whether they have been able to articulate it so meticulously or not is another thing, but they are trying to very, very desperately meet these requirements.
Okay. So speaking of product training part, is there any focus on the manufacturing side of training, or in any compliance side of training, or how is it like is it just surely the larger part goes to the product training, or there is some more aspects to it, like it is followed by the training in the manufacturing front, maybe at the power plants, or maybe at the compliance, ethics and compliance, basically when it comes to manufacturing such drugs.
So you said it all, you said it all and much more also, because everything, whether you are selling, you need to have product training from that point of view. If you are in manufacturing, you need to have actually training about the process that you are deployed in. You need to know the related EHS, that employee health safety, environment health and safety processes. You need to have the general basic manufacturing processes known to you. This is called GMP. Similarly, you need to have good lab practices known to you. So that is called GLP. Similarly, you need to have good documentation practices known to you, which is called GDP. So similarly, so on and so forth. For everything there is training. There is a technical training department. There is a sales training department. There is, of course, IT training department, which is becoming more and more pivotal now, obviously, in the current times. So there is training required in the product training aspect in each one of these areas.
All right. That is answering my question, like from A to Z. Like I don't think that there is any better way to answer this question. Thank you so much. So yeah, moving on to our next question, Rituraj. Why should, like, this is basically a question from a viewer side, like from the first time job seeker side. So why should people take pharma as a career option? I mean, maybe why pharma industry is lucrative as a career option?
Um, it's very interesting question. No reason why pharma. Do whatever you want to do, but do what you want to do. So
Yes.
you need to be in pharma when you really are excited about getting immediate results. You are able to actually do a lot of visibility, earn a lot of visibility through your work, because everything is so easily measurable. It's also transparent. It's automatically full of accountability. The process of selling, the process of making is automatically full of accountability. If you have manufactured those number of capsules, if you have sold those number of products or items, if exceeded your target, it's also easily measurable. So you have a lot of opportunity to become more visible than many other industries in that sense. not at all to really take the sheen away from any other industry. Everything. I
Yeah.
worked in so many other industries, so definitely each one has got their own very, very exciting, whether it is manufacturing sector or it is services sector or it is concept selling or it is industrial products. Each one has got its own beauty and uniqueness. But in pharma, it's very easy for you to be able to earn a recognition. But more important than that, you need to decide whether you want to be uh, getting into this exciting challenge, because whatever you did yesterday is done yesterday. Today is a new month. You need to start all over again. So it is not that you can rest on your laurels, because the appetite, the aspiration for me individually as a professional is also to continuously grow. And that growth does not mean in terms of promotion or my tag. It's not about my salary alone. It's about the capability that I really create for myself.
Yes.
If I am able to handle business worth 5 crores today, tomorrow can I handle 50? Day after, can I handle 500? So can I grow in terms of scale up my operations, scale up my responsibility? That is real growth. That is real contribution, and that is what entails a lot of learning needs. That becomes very exciting if you are really, if you feel that you are cut out for this kind of thing.
So basically, in a nutshell, like, a person, let's say, for pharma sales rep, a person wins at life as well, not just professionally, but yeah, personally as well, because the challenges or the different sort of learning, that is very equivalent or very important when it comes to learning, and like you said, that a tag or a promotion or increase in your salary, as that comes under the professional development. But yes, personal growth is very important, and if you pay attention, we get a hinge of personal growth as well here. So yeah, challenges leads to growth, and yeah, that is what challenges and opportunity. This is all I can say about pharma space, pharma company.
One more thing, if I might just add to this, Tanushree,
Sure, sure.
is that you had an opportunity to lead others at a very early stage in this.
Okay.
So this is possible in banking and financial services as well. However, in pharma, because you're talking about life, so you're trying to help people save their life,
Yes,
improve their
yes,
quality of living, etc. So it's a very interesting context. And earlier on, earlier than many other places, you get to lead here. The moment you become a good sales guy, people want you to help others also to do that, and
yes.
you become a leader.
Life skills, basically. Yeah,
So you become a manager much faster and younger in this sense.
yeah. So exactly, it's a way of life wherein you're learning life skills, you're learning good important values and virtues in life, which will help you lead a very good and prosperous life if you pay attention. So yeah, personal growth and professional growth, and especially during these tough times. I mean, we all salute to the vigor of pharma companies. They have done a stunning job in terms of saving lives and in terms of giving back to the society and to the entire mankind community. So yeah, so well done, well job, good job, I would say. So yeah, I think we are just about to, we are at the end. I think we are covered up all the questions except for one or two last questions. Like, considering the slowdown of economy, uh, what, and also uh, the due to employment due to COVID, like around 4 million jobs have been lost in India. What should an individual do to overcome such scenarios, since the competition have increased much, right? And they want, if, for example, if a person or a learner has to apply to a company or pharma company, let's say for Lupin. So what all basic should a prospective learner or a prospective MR should prepare himself or should gauge himself with? So just to have a overview of the learning part, wherein they want to apply or they want to get a job at Lupin or any other pharma company.
Um, I think that's a very important question you've asked me, Tanushree, because on the face of it, you feel that you are challenged. But I would like to turn this around, and so I'm going to make a statement. I want this to be noted and registered in mind
Yes.
of the listener. The statement is that improving employability is a personal pursuit, and same has been reinforced by this pandemic also. Improving employability is my personal pursuit. And in a context, in an economy like India, we always have a pandemic called competition. We have
Yes.
so many people wanting the same job that we are doing. So we have to be better than others. So we have this pandemic is a very enabling term in that sense. But we are privileged to be able to be in a situation where we might be able to write our life defining stories for our future generations, how we dealt with this challenge or these kind of related associated challenges. So it's an opportunity for us to decide how we wish to take it. And therefore, we need to really reskill ourselves. We need to relearn a lot of things. We need to re-look at a lot of ways of working that we've done so far. It's not, it's easier said than done, agreed, but there are some specific things. For example, we need to be absolutely, when you say disciplined in terms of your time management, how do you become disciplined? Uh, it's not that in a day you have to do a job and you see at the end of the day whether you, I'm just giving you an example, and it's a very practical example. It's not that at the end of the day I look at my job and day, so whether I was able to do that job or not. Immediately you'll end up looking back and seeing that you know 8 out of 10 times. I'm just saying directionally, you might change it from 8 to 7 or 6 or 5 or 9 or whatever. 8 out of 10 times you have not accomplished what you had set out for yourself in that day. This is what happens most of the times. More importantly, what you need to do, therefore, the trick here is in order to be more disciplined, and this is the kind of learning and reskilling, repracticing we need to do, is that divide your day into 4 sessions. So, what is first half, second half? Second is the first half, first session, second session, and second half, third session, fourth session. So, divide your day, whatever you are doing, whatever work you're doing, divide your day into these 4 sessions and see, have really subdivide your tasks into these sessions, session 1, 2, 3, 4. Have I achieved my session 1 goal? Have I achieved my session 2 goal? So that will enhance your actually chances of accomplishing much more through the day. So when we say broadly, when I say that you need to be more disciplined than ever before, this is where you need to look at things like this to be able to, that will help you become much more productive. It will help you become more creatively looking at the challenges that you got with yourself. Because if conventionally you've been used to being supervised and then your best comes out, these are not the times for those old habits anymore. You need to be doing your best when you are now unsupervised or less supervised, when you're being supervised remotely. And this is a great filter any company is looking for, because every company needs future leaders. They are wanting to have leadership for future
Yes.
cross levels, right from junior to senior.
Yes.
And one of the key aspects that they are looking for is how is this person in terms of quality of work when left alone, when
Yes.
not really as much supervised. And this is again a privileged time in that sense. How do you show your capability, your mettle in these times to be able to really add value? So understand your company's expectations from you better than before. Understanding your manager's expectations from you better than before, because it is no longer going to be that he is going to or she is going to call you over and to her cabin and then piece of her mind, etc. All that is going to happen. It's going to happen in a very different way. It's going to be a phone call, going to be a video call, going to be a document. You definitely don't want to wait for that. You want to make sure that you have actually picked it up. I just gave you an example to share a practical way of doing things better than before. And it's not a different skill that you need to learn. You need to be more creatively solving your problems. You need to be getting into details rather than just looking for broader goals. So day-wise goal should be broken down, like I gave an example, to session-wise goal. And similarly, when you have a challenge, take it up on yourself to really handle that challenge yourself. When you feel that you are actually, that work-life balance is again an old world phenomenon.
Yeah.
If you are enjoying what you're doing, you are in a flow. Then of course you will do all kinds of things in your 24 hours. But you will not really feel as tired if you are really loving what you are doing. And therefore, you need to make a very, very conscious choice and don't keep waiting for the way things are happening. Either you accept what is happening to you and fall in love with that. Otherwise, do where you think your heart is. You go after that. Don't compromise. One of the biggest trends today in employees is that they do not want to compromise. They want to pursue their interest. So you need to know what your interest is. You need to follow that. The other big trend in today's employees is that they want to go for convenience and not commitment. We are getting into times that are commitment phobic. So we want more convenience, and convenience can be comfort, convenience can be my preferences, convenience can be my orientation, convenience can be my ways of working. So all that is what I mean, how I define convenience. So today's employee wants to be more, and it's very valid. I mean, this is absolutely the way it is. So you don't have a choice to like it or not like it as an employer. I'm talking as an employer now. So an employee today is looking for pursuing her interest rather than really just compromising because company wants her to do something. An employee today wants to be really pursuing convenience rather than commitment. And very interestingly, employee does not just want to continue in a job, wants adventure of growth and challenge in the job. So it has shifted from continuity leading to loyalty, which was a big misnomer for continuity. From continuity is now shifted to simply enjoying the challenge, adventure of challenge and growth. So give me bar raising challenges and I would go for it. This is the typical today's employees construct. I thought I will just share.
Yes. These words, Rituraj, they are like, gospel for our learners, for our viewers. I mean, that, you have mentioned, we have touched base every point of, a learner's professional aspect, or touch basing the personal aspect as well. Or, while it comes to taking ownership, accepting challenges, and being a little flexible. So basically, you have covered it all. And I'm sure that our viewers would be very much pleased and very much, excited to hear more from you and take it away a very good takeaway basically in terms of learning, in terms of motivation. Yeah, so that's all. I think we have covered all our questions. And thank you, Rituraj, for your time. This was truly very insightful. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure being with you all, and thanks again for joining us today, and we'll see you until next time.
It was a pleasure for me to be part of this interaction, Tanushree. I must thank you for giving me this opportunity, and it was a pleasure speaking with you and responding to your questions. I think if in any way I can be of any help in time to come also, we can go beyond this session.
Sure.
Everybody who's logged in right now.
Yeah.
Most welcome.
Thank you so much, Rituraj, for your time. Thank you. God bless you. Bye.